Hi, yeah, as I said, welcome to our session. My name is Marion Rogan, and I'm the Enterprise Officer at Fáilte Ireland, and I'm moderating the session this evening. So if everybody could just say a quick hello in the chat box and let us know where you're joining from, that'd be great. We appreciate of you taking the time this evening to join our session. So use it to your advantage, and we encourage you to ask questions, and Amanda will deal with the questions at the end of the session, unless there's something specific that you're not clear on, and I can jump in during the session and interrupt Amanda. So the session will run from now until 7 o'clock. I'm delighted to welcome Amanda Webb, who is our expert trainer for the session today. Amanda is a digital trainer and consultant, and she works with businesses both in Ireland and worldwide, helping them get results from their online marketing. Her focus is on assisting owners and managers to get more creative and organized so that they can maximize their return investment from all digital marketing activity. So you're in great hands this evening, and really excited for this session, and hand you over now to Amanda Webb. Thank you. Talk to you later.
Hello, everyone. I'm excited to be with you here today to talk about Instagram, which is a lot of people's favorite social network. I know we're going to look at understanding where Instagram fits into your digital strategy, understanding why it could be important for tourism businesses specifically. We're going to look at the different ways you can optimize your account to get more conversions. We're going to look at what you should post on Instagram, both on, because we've got all the different areas now, right? We've got Reels, Stories, the feed. It's no longer just a square photo sharing app, as their boss says. And we're going to look at analytics so you can work out what content is and isn't working. But before we get into that, we've got a poll, and I would like to know how you're currently using Instagram. So if you could let us know, you can choose as many options as you like. So if you don't use it, that's absolutely fine. You're in the right place. But I'd like to know if you're posting to the feed, to stories, to reels, and whether you engage with other accounts on Instagram. So I can see lots of you using the feed and stories. Less of you using reels, but that's okay. It takes a little while to get into creating videos like that. And lots of you doing the best thing ever, which is engaging with other accounts on Instagram. So we're just waiting for one person who hasn't participated. Maybe it's me. Okay, maybe we'll end that now and have a look at the results. So great. There's no absolute newbie to Instagram. Hopefully that's good, because I haven't shown you how to set up an account here. So that's good news. And as I said, lots of you using the feed and stories, which is the first two ways we were introduced to Instagram. Fewer using reels, but that's okay. Hopefully you're willing to start dipping your toe in the water for reels, because they really are good. And I'll show you the reason why you should use reels in a little while. And 9 of you are engaging with other accounts on Instagram. So good to know where we are. Let's start then by talking about why Instagram is important for tourism businesses specifically. And I think you probably know the answer to that already, because we live in this beautiful country and there is so much visual content to share. And that's what Instagram is all about, visual content. We can really set the scene. We can really tell people how beautiful it is and really inspire them to travel to our particular part of the country. I live in Athy in County Kildare, obviously the most beautiful place in the country. So why should we use Instagram? There are the 2 billion active monthly users. That's a big chunk of the world. And that means 2 billion people log in at least once a month. Obviously, a lot of people log in way more than that. 90% of people on Instagram, and this is really weird, well, I think it's weird, follow a brand or a business, and we don't get that so much on other social networks. So people aren't allergic to commercial messages on Instagram like they might be on other social networks. This is really not what I expected, but apparently the largest group of users are men. Yeah, I know. We wouldn't have thought that. I think a lot of people think of Instagram as being this pink palace of a place, but actually we have more men, slightly more men. It's not like massive. Between 18 and 34 is the biggest area, but it's still growing. So there's still potential to reach lots more of the people. And you can see the black line there is Instagram. It is still growing slightly, where we can see the red of Facebook is on the decline. There's other reasons to use it as well. As I said, it's visual. We've got a beautiful country. We've got beautiful things all around us that we can share, the beautiful countryside, the beautiful cities, the people we work with. But also it can attract user-generated content. Visitors are going to do some of the work talking about your business by sharing images, videos, and stories on their Instagram. And this example is from the Jailhouse Bar and Restaurant in Belfast. If any of you have ever been there, you will know it is situated on an alley called Joy's Entry. And they actually decorate this entire alleyway for various occasions. So in this case, it was Pride. And I happened to be sitting outside this bar with a nice pint, and people kept walking by, and this was so irresistible that every single person who walked by had to stop and get a selfie in this beautiful space that they created for Pride. So you can see that's a whole bundle of people. That's content I found online, including one of me, taking their photos in that area. And when they go and redress it for Christmas, they'll have a whole different audience as well. So if you can find something that is just irresistibly photo worthy, you'll get a whole lot of user generated content. Other things that I love, and actually it came up in the poll, it's one of the things I think is almost unique to Instagram, is that you can go and find your audience and engage directly with them. So the search function in Instagram is incredible. You can just go into the Explore tab, which is the magnifying glass right at the bottom of your screen, and you click into that and you can type in a location. So as I said, Athy, the most beautiful place in the country, the Clanard Court Hotel there. I typed in that. I can find people that are taking photos in the Clanard Court Hotel, engaging with photos that have been taken there, and that tells me they're in the local area. So all I need to do is start engaging with their content, and it tells them that, hey, look, check out this business that's over there. Or I can use hashtag search. I can type in a hashtag that I know is popular. I can go and visit that hashtag. I can find posts that are using that hashtag. So island travel, for example, and I can go and do the same. I can go and either comment on the post itself or engage with the people that are engaging with the post. So this helps you tap into a massive audience that you wouldn't normally have access to. And then, of course, you can do keyword search. I'm going to be talking about that a lot during this session. It's not all about the hashtags anymore. You can actually search for a phrase and you'll find content that is relevant to that. And you can go and do the same. Just go and engage with the people there. It's just the best way to find people to engage with. So with that in mind, let's look at how you can optimize your Instagram account for conversions. So the first thing is, do you have a business profile? Do you have a business profile? Do you know if you have a business profile? Business profiles are amazing because they give you a whole bunch of extra features. For me, the most important one is insights. That's your analytics for Instagram. You can't get that unless you have a business profile. You can run ads and promote posts. You can add action buttons. So you can add a contact us button, for example. You can have a category which helps you appear in search. And also there's an enhanced bio. So there's more stuff you can add to your bio than just a standard account. Now, this is the bit where I try and change my screen share so I can show you how to do this live. Here we go. So we're in my personal account now, because obviously that's the account that I have that isn't a business account. So I'm going to show you the process for switching over. At the top right-hand side of the screen, you see the three little lines. We call that a hamburger menu. If I click onto that, I can click into settings. And then if you see at the bottom of the screen there in blue, switch to a professional account. And that takes me step by step through the process. It's very straightforward to do. So that's it. Simple. Now I have to share a different screen and it doesn't. Yes. Okay, that's good. The next thing is connecting your Facebook page. Now I'm going to preempt this by saying Facebook is very buggy, and sometimes when you try and do this, it can take a few goes to get it going. But it's really valuable if you connect the two up. First things are, you can save time because you don't have to go and post to Facebook and post to Instagram separately. You can cross post, so you can share something on Instagram and it automatically shares to Facebook. And now you can do that with Reels as well as stories and your feed posts. You can also then connect it up to your business suite on Facebook. And business suite on Facebook is their way of managing like Facebook business pages. But now you can connect that up. And if I can share my screen again, this is where I do all the weird technical stuff that may or may not work. So bear with me. I'm just going to bring you into my business suite. And you can see here that I've got stuff coming in from Instagram and Messenger and Facebook and Instagram all in one place on desktop, which means it's so much easier to manage rather than having to switch from app to app. Just bear with me a second because I've lost my PowerPoint. This was bound to happen at some stage. There it is. Okay. Sorry. Also through Instagram Business Suite, you can schedule content, and you can schedule content to both Instagram and Facebook at separate times if you want to. In Business Suite, you also get extra insights on top of what we can see in the app, which is really cool. And within Ads Manager on Meta, which is what we call it now rather than Facebook, you can actually run ads both to your Instagram account as well as Facebook. So it's definitely worth connecting the two. I'm not even going to attempt to change my screen to go into that live. You can do that if you go into your profile. You'll see there's a button that says Edit Profile. Click on Page. You can see I've already hooked it up, but if you click on that, it will bring you in and it will give you a list of all the pages that you manage to connect the one that you want to. If you can't make it work first time, don't worry, it does actually sometimes work. Sometimes it's just hyper glitchy. There are 9 areas of your profile that you can optimize for getting more conversions. Let's look at those. Firstly, we've got your username and your display name. I'm going to explain all these in detail. You've got your profile picture, and that should be consistent across all your social media. You've got a category. You've got your bio, so that needs to be really good to entice people to follow you. You've got a link in your bio, just one link at the moment, just one link. Instagram are looking at possibly pushing that into 3 links, which would just be so great, wouldn't it? It's very frustrating only being able to add one. Contact details, we've got your highlights, and we've got, if you haven't discovered them yet, pinned posts. You can now pin posts right to the top of your profile and they'll stay there until you unpin them. So let's look at those one by one. Firstly, we've got your username versus your display name. So your username is at something. It's the name of your business. If you can get that, got up to 30 characters to use for that, all lowercase. So if you put in capitals, it just changes them back down to lowercase. And it becomes part of your Instagram link. So you will be instagram.com/ whatever your business name is. Now, when you're setting this up, and you may have already done this already, it can be quite frustrating because you'll go in and you'll try and put in your business name and it will say, no, sorry, that's already gone. So one thing a lot of people do is they'll put underscores in. So they'll say, I am Glen Bay View, which is the Instagram account I set up for demoing on today. I am Glen Bay View __. But that's really hard. When you want to pass that on to someone verbally, they won't remember how many underscores to put in or where the underscore goes. So instead of using underscores, if you're setting a new username, try putting the real at the beginning, or we are, or I am at the beginning. So it would be we are Glen Bay View instead of Glen Bay View __. See how that's much easier to tell someone what it is. And this is your app name, your username. But then there's your display name, and not many people utilize this to its full extent. Your display name is used when people arrive on the account or when they search for the account to tell people who you are. And you have more than double the amount of characters, 64, to set your display name. So you can actually maybe put Glen Bay View Adventure Centre, which is what I've done, which tells people exactly what the business is, rather than just the name of your business. You can also add emojis to your username, which will help it stand out a little bit. So let's have a look at that in action. This is Katie Daly's Heritage Pub, and you can see that's their username. They were lucky enough to get the whole username. But you can see for their display name, they've just gone with traditional Irish pub, and they put an Irish flag. at the end as an emoji. So that helps it stand out a little bit. It helps it appear in search results if people are looking for an Irish pub, and it tells people a little bit more about the business. So consider that. Have a look at the username that you're using right now and see, is that fitting? So we're going to try sharing a screen again, and I will find the right one first time this time. I really will. Now, you're all good Instagram users already. I'm really hoping my phone screen will share sometime soon. So you probably know all this stuff already, but let me go through it. To edit anything, most of the stuff in your profile, because of course it's Instagram, they have to hide some stuff. But most of the stuff, if you click on that big edit profile button, that brings you in, and you can see your name. That's what I've got at the top, which is got an emoji, it's longer, and underneath is your username. If you are going to change your username, just like one warning, really, if you're going to change your username, just make sure if you've linked to that from your website or anywhere else, that's actually going to change your Instagram link as well. So if you've got it linked on your website, once you've changed the name here, make sure you go and update the link. Otherwise, people will end up getting just a blank page or a 404. So this is where we go to edit all the bits on our profile. I won't share that again, so I hope you remember where it is. It's okay, I've got a screen share for it. So now your profile picture, we've done 1 and 2, which is your names. Now we're on number 3, your profile picture. What should be in your profile picture? Well, firstly, and possibly most importantly, it should be consistent across social media and across your website. For social media, you may need to edit up your profile picture a little bit to make it fit in a circle and also be readable. But it should be very apparent if someone visits your website, your Facebook page, your Twitter account, your TikTok account, and your Instagram account that it is the same thing. So just make sure when you change it one place, you change it everywhere. It's a really good idea to use a logo because, of course, that is what is going to make people know who you are. If you don't have a logo yet, just make sure you're creating something that is on brand, that looks like you and uses the right colors and the right fonts, etc. So to add your profile picture, it's in that same section. You can upload it there, or you can even upload it on desktop if you want to. So number 4, the 4th way that we can optimize your profile is your category. Now, this is kind of annoying because when you set up your account, you choose a category and there's this little button that you might forget to check that says display my category on my profile. And this is really good because categories help you come up in the right search results and they help people understand exactly what your business does. Now, I don't think there'd be any doubt in any of these 3 accounts what they do: a hotel, a museum, a tourist information center. But it's worth adding it in there. So just go and check that in your profile and make sure it's displaying. Then we've got your bio. And this is probably the most important bit that we've looked at so far. Your bio is those few characters that you have to tell people about you. And this needs to tell people what you're about, who you are, and why they should follow you. You need to make it interesting enough that they want to click the follow button. So some of the things that you can add to your bio are emojis that are relevant to your business. You can see the Cobblestone there is using them really effectively. You can totally tell that it's a music pub, right? 100% because of all the icons that they've used. You can see that Katie Daly's has spread out their bio with various emojis, and it just adds a little bit of color and interest. Remember I talked about keyword search and I said we'd be talking about it more? Well, we are talking about it more now. Make sure you're putting keywords in there that people will want to find you for. So Gouty Mountains there under Arlo House, I'm probably saying their name wrong. Or we can say the Kildare House Hotel has put Kildare Village Outlet Shopping. Those are keywords. Or the Curragh Plains. These are things that people might be searching for that will help them appear there. If you've got a branded hashtag, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, make sure you put that in your bio. Like hashtags in general in your bio don't work, but if you've got one that you would like people to use, so in the case of the Cobblestone, they've created their own The Cobblestone, and a call to action. So you can see the Cliffs of Moher there have an online booking required, and then the link where you can book online. So think about what it is that you want people to do as a result of visiting your bio. So to add a bio, same place that I showed you at the beginning, it's just underneath where you add your name and your username. You can add your bio there. You've 150 characters. And I would advise that you write it somewhere else first. So I use the Notes app on my phone and copy and paste it in, because that will retain the formatting that you put in it. Otherwise, it just tends to turn it into one long sentence or one long paragraph, which is a little bit hard for people to read. The next way to optimize your Instagram profile is a link in your bio. So we have one link in our bio. I am going to talk about other places you can link shortly, but we have one link in our bio. We need to make that link work for us. So what should it be? Should it be your website? Well, maybe it should be your website. You could direct people to the homepage of your website. And if your website is amazing on mobile, that could work. You could create a specific page on your website, like a landing page for Instagram, and I see a lot of people doing that. That's a really good way. And you could also, on that page, you would link to the individual things that you talk about on your Instagram account, so you can push them further into the sales process. Or if you look on the right hand side, you could use a tool like Linktree. And Linktree is basically a very easy to create tool for creating a very easy to use tool for creating an Instagram landing page. It doesn't live on your website, it lives on the Linktree website, but you can easily set one up. It's really user friendly, and you can add and take away buttons as you want to. It even gives you analytics on how many of those buttons were clicked and how many times, which is really useful. To find that, there's actually an app, if you're a mobile person. So just search for Linktree, or if you go to linktr.ee, that brings you to the website where you can set this up. And it is so user friendly. I've set this up with a lot of customers before, and it's very easy to use. So if you haven't got the technical know-how to set it up on your website, or you're not ready to take that step, Linktree is a great alternative. It's free to use for the basic version. You may wish to upgrade. Don't add too many links. That is my one warning, because sometimes I go to a Linktree and there's so much choice, I end up clicking nothing at all. The next section to optimize is your contact information. So you can add your contact information, you can add an email address, you can add a phone number, and you can add an address. When you add a phone number, somebody can just click the call button and instigate a call directly from their mobile phone. So if there are people who want to know more about your business, or if you want to be contacted by phone, if that's a preferred method, this can really work for getting more phone calls. You can also, if you've added an address, give them the call to action to open it in Maps if you're on iOS, or Google Maps, so that they can find their way to your location. So just make sure all that information is there. You add it in exactly the same place in that edit bio, just as complete as it can be. So we're coming on to the two most fun ways to optimize your profile now, which is highlights. Highlights, I absolutely love highlights. You can see two examples of them there from the Stella Cinema and the Kildare House Hotel. Highlights, if you haven't used them before, you can create them from your Instagram stories. So even though your Instagram story only lasts 24 hours, they're actually stored in your archive. So you can go back through that and pick specific stories and add them as a highlight so people can visit them when they visit your profile. But you should be selective about what you add here. So for example, the Stella Cinemas there have a this week. So that is whatever's on in the Stella Cinemas this week. They can add to that highlight there, and anyone visiting their account can tap straight in, decide what film they want to watch. And because you can add a link sticker to an Instagram story, they can even click through and book directly from that highlight, and the same with the book now button. The big mistake I see people make is adding too many highlights. So every time you add one, it just pushes them along. So people would scroll too much. They're never going to look at the ones 6, 7, 8 down. So think about your first 4 highlights are the ones that people will really see, and consider what you want to have there. So what I think is a great example is the Book of Kells. The Book of Kells have a frequently asked questions highlight. First up, you can see they've only got 2 highlights. So they're giving people the information they need. They're not overwhelming them with stuff. You can go straight into that frequently asked questions, and you can see the frequently asked questions and the answers to them. So think about that when you're creating highlights. It's almost like the navigation on your website. It's a way to direct people to the information they need that can help them buy from you. So to create a highlight, let's try sharing my screen again. So to create a highlight, I've not created a highlight for this account yet. So you can see there's a big bunch of circles, and I click that plus in the middle of the now button. Or if I click the plus at the top of the screen, you can see the story highlight as an option. Now, again, new account that I just created to do this training today. So there are only 3 stories, but if you have stories from the past, you can just scroll back, and they are by date order. So it's easy to find. You select whichever stories you want to add. Click on the next button. You can edit the cover. So the cover photo, the cover of your highlight is what's inside that circle. And as you saw in the examples, that you could have a very stylized one, something you maybe create in Canva, and you can upload it on your phone here. Or you can just choose like a nice photo from your stories to be the cover. Then I see a lot of accounts, I'll go to their highlights and they all say highlights. You need to give it a name. So say test, if I could spell properly, and then click add. And now you can see at the top of my profile, I've got this highlight, which I can click into. It's something, if you haven't got good highlights already, it could make a big difference to the way people view your Instagram account when they get to it. The final part of optimizing your profile is pinning a post. So pinned posts are new. You may not have come across them before. I'm sure you're all very savvy Instagram people, so maybe you have. But by pinning 3 posts at the top of your profile, they're always going to be the one that visitors see first. So you can use things, you can do things like in both of these examples, they have pinned posts that are showcasing something that is happening now, something that you can invest in now. So the Natural History Museum have a new exhibition on, and the Cliffs of Moher are talking about their opening times for November. All important information for customers to have. And it's really simple to pin a post. You just go into the post that you want to pin. You can pin any post from your own grid. So you can only pin posts you have posted. Click on the 3 dots at the top and choose pin to profile. When you finish, you can just unpin it from your profile. It's that easy. So go look through your recent posts on Instagram. Are there any there that you would like to stay at the top of your feed for the season? That's important to think about. So now we know all the 9 different areas that you can use to optimize your Instagram bio. It's time to talk about posting on Instagram. Didn't it just get really complicated to post on Instagram, didn't it? Because back in the old days, when it first came out, it was just a square photo sharing app where you could put funky filters that made it look like Polaroid cameras. But now it's got really complicated. We've got 3 different feeds. We've got stories right at the top. So if you see a profile picture with a little kind of rainbowy color around it, that means it's got an active story. Stories disappear within 24 hours of posting them, exactly. And you can post videos and images there. You've got your feed posts, which are our traditional posts that we can think of, but they're not just photos anymore. You can post videos. And you can post carousels, which are when you post multiple images that people can scroll through. And then most recently, we've got this new feed, Reels. And like, Instagram had a reason for creating reels. They had a reason to create stories. When they created stories, it's because Snapchat was like popular amongst the kids. So they wanted some of those people to come over to Instagram. So they created stories. Now, TikTok is popular with the kids. So they have created reels. Different feeds reach different people. And when we look at analytics, I'll show you where you can see this. But this is a screenshot from my analytics. And you can see right there, the light blue is the people who follow me already. And the dark blue are people who don't follow me. And it is similar, if not exactly the same, for every single account. Stories, almost 100% exclusively, only reach your followers. Feed posts mostly reach your followers. You will with keyword, if you use keywords effectively, if you use hashtags effectively, if you use locations effectively, you can drive some more people in there. But in general, it's still mostly your followers with a small amount of non-followers. And that's where the magic of Reels is. With Reels, you will reach way beyond your existing audience. You can see that my Reels have reached 8,170 people, and most of those weren't connected with me already. So it's a really good way to help you grow your audience. So that means you need different content for those different feeds. Let's look at how we would mix that into maybe the content goals that you would have. So there are 4 different content goals for content that you create on Instagram. And you should really think about like making sure that you've got a good balance of these, because each does a different thing. You want to build your audience. You've got informational content, so tips and tutorials, stuff like how to pour a pint of Guinness, or how to set up an open fire. That sort of stuff would go down really well right now. Memes, so anything that is kind of topical or seasonal can work really well. And anything that you know your audience is interested in, even if it's not directly about you. So, if you know your audience likes to go for walks, or are walkers or hikers or professional hikers, create content around that. Or if you know they're into history, create content around that. Or if you know they just want a good city break, that's the sort of content that is going to attract them. That helps you build your audience. Then you've got engagement content, and this is all about taking them that one step further. Can you get people to engage with your account? Because when they do that, they will remember you. You're going to have more impact on them than if they just passively scroll by. So things like, all the engagement stickers, which we'll look at in a little while, on stories that you can add, or maybe just asking a question in a post, or asking for input, or tagging other businesses to give them a shout out to say how great they are. That's a really good way to get extra engagement on your account. Then we've got hand raiser content, and this is getting commitment. This is somebody taking a small commitment towards buying. So that actually just pushes them further along the buying process. So things like getting them to subscribe to your newsletter. Maybe that's going to be one of your Linktree links, is getting them to subscribe to your newsletter. Or, and this works magically on Instagram, so well on Instagram, is getting people to send you a direct message. That means they're in a conversation with you. It's a really good way to make Instagram work for you. And then, of course, you've got your sales content, which is you talking about your latest exhibition, or your opening hours, or this offer that you've gotten for Christmas, or your Christmas party night, or your Christmas package. I seem to be obsessed with Christmas, but also things like testimonials and case studies from people. Any objections that you think your audience might have, like, I'm not traveling to Ireland in winter, that's crazy. You could answer that objection by talking about how wonderful the weather is right now, or how Ireland is beautiful in a storm. That's what it's made from, things along those lines. Frequently asked questions, like we saw from the Book of Kells, and show how you might solve some of your visitors' problems. So if you're accessible, for example, if you might look at how you're accessible for people, that might really help. So if we bring those two together, we bring the content goals together and the 3 different types of feed. For stories and feed posts, we can do the whole remit. We can do info, engage, commit, and sell. But for Reels, remember, Reels are only reaching so many people that don't know about you already. You don't want to be trying to push them into committing or trying to sell yet, because they've never heard of you before. The first time they've ever heard of you is when this weird video popped up in their Reels feed. So you would use your Reels to qualify your audience, to talk about the things that they're interested in and try and get them to engage. So for everything else, you can do everything, but for Reels, really focus in on those as a goal. Now, all that's fine, but there's one thing that is standing in the way of you and Instagram being successful. Do you know what it is? It is the Instagram algorithm, which is the piece of code, the application, the program that decides what people see first when they log into Instagram. And it gets in the way of the people who follow us and the people who don't follow us seeing our content. And all we can do to combat this is keep an eye on how it's working and look at ways to get around that. And the problem with the algorithm is it's constantly shifting and trading. So what I'm telling you now is relevant right now. And the ways I'm going to show you can combat it are relevant right now, but they may introduce a new tweak next week, which could change everything completely. So let's just look at the five main things that affect what gets seen in the feed. Firstly, your content type. What sort of content does the person in your audience engage with the most? So if you're in targeting me, it's going to be video. I watch a lot of videos on Instagram. If it's got a cat in, all the much better. The relationship they have with your account. So for your feed posts and your stories, this is most relevant. People are going to see those if they've engaged with your account before or if they engage on a regular basis. So the more you can get them to engage, the more they're going to see from you in the future. And some engagement is more powerful than others. So for example, a comment is the best sort of engagement you can possibly get, particularly if it's over 4 words long. Don't ask me why 4 words, but that's it. So if you can encourage more comments, you will reach more of your audience. The topic. Instagram has all this machine learning now that will understand from your caption on your post, from your hashtags, and from the actual content of your post, what it's about. So on Reels, for example, if you post a cat video, there's a good chance it will end up in my feed because Instagram knows I like cat videos. Not just videos, but specifically cat videos. That doesn't mean you should post a cat video unless you've got a valid reason to, but that's how it works. So if somebody's been doing a lot of research into Ireland, for example, they're more likely to see content about Ireland. Then you've got the time of the day. Are you posting when there's actually people to see your content? And the hardest one of all is competition, because you can in your analytics, and I'll show you how in a minute, see what time of day you should be posting on Instagram when your audience is online. The problem is that is the same for almost everyone in Ireland. So if everyone posts at that exact time, that means Instagram has to select from those hundreds of posts which 4 or 5 it's going to put at the top of the feed. That's competition that can really get in our way. So to reach more of your audience, some of the things that you can do: post frequently, at least 3 times a week, just means that there's always something new to show your audience. Post to all 3 feeds, because different people will look at different parts of Instagram, and that means you're going to max out the number of people you reach. Post a variety of content, so still images, videos, and carousels. Try posting at different times of the day and just work out which one gets the most reach. Write helpful captions that have keywords in them that will attract your audience and be interesting to them, but can also help you get found in search. And engage with other accounts, because if you are engaging with other accounts when you post, those people are going to be more interested to see what you're doing. And if they've engaged back with you, they will see your post pop up in the feed. The more you engage, I would actually take time. I'm going to post now, and then I'm going to spend 5 minutes engaging with my audience. That will give you a bit of a boost. But what do people do when they don't get enough reach? They hit that boost button, right? It's so tempting to hit that boost button to reach more, but should you actually do that? Well, yes, because boosting a post can help you reach more of your target market. I do think it's better to use like your ads manager, so to connect it all up with Facebook and Meta and run them from there. But a boost post can help you reach more of your target market. It also means that you can add links and call to action buttons, but they only appear on the ads. But the thing you shouldn't do is go, well, I spent ages creating that post and nobody's seeing it, I'm going to boost it. And the reason I say you shouldn't do that is because when you do that, if it's not performing well organically, it's unlikely to perform well as an ad. So it's going to cost you a lot of money to reach the people you want to. So an alternative could be to delete it and post it later on in the day or a time that suits better, or just to create a different version of the same post to see if you can make that work. Now let's look at the 3 types of feed in a little bit more detail. I'm going to start with stories because that's the one that's at the top of the screen. As you know, they disappear within 24 hours of you posting them. Size-wise, they're full vertical, full screen, which is 1080 by 1920 if you're creating off-site. You don't need to add hashtags. They don't do anything. They're not searchable. You can add text and stickers. Like you can see, there's a lot of, we've got a link sticker there. We've got a question sticker. We've got another link sticker. We've got a poll. We've got a quiz. We've got a slider poll. They have done everything in this story, which was nice when I was looking for an example. That helps people engage with it. And when you post, try and add more than 1 clip. So add 2 or 3 clips at a time. And you can do just 1 story a week, or you can go up to maybe three stories a week, but don't get bogged down with having to try and do it every single day. So stories can contain video clips, still images. You can decorate them with text, GIFs and stickers, and you can also share feed posts into your stories. But if you do that, don't make it the only thing that you do, because people will just get a little bit bored of seeing the same thing in the feed as they see in stories. You really want to embrace the full screen look. So secondly, let's talk about, I call them feed posts, the main feed. That's what we're talking about here. They're square. You can do a semi-portrait size one, which is 1080 by 1350 if you're creating it somewhere else. Annoyingly, every video that you post to Instagram now becomes a reel. So instead of posting square or semi-portrait videos, do go for the full screen video wherever you are posting it on Instagram. You can add up to 30 relevant hashtags. Hashtags can help you appear in search. They're less important than they used to be. Add a caption. Make sure you add a caption that is interesting to your audience and includes keywords, because that will help your visibility. Frequency-wise, 3 a week to 1 a day. Carousels are underused, and they tend to get more engagement than static feed posts. So think about, instead of maybe posting 3 images, could you turn those 3 images into a carousel that people can scroll through? And that's an engagement as well, so they're spending more time with you. Try not to use small text on your image, because there's no real zoom in on Instagram. So people like me who need reading glasses find it really hard to read your stuff. Then we've got Reels, the final section. Reels are the most exciting part of Instagram now. They will get you that extra reach. They're full screen. You can add hashtags to your caption. You can add as many as you like, up to the 2,200 character limit. They do aid some amount in discoverability, but definitely don't put too many in. Try and stick to relevant ones. Use stickers for your engagement and links. I'll show you those in a second. And you can post once a week to every single day of the week. Make it part of your main post schedule, because remember, every video is now a reel. So if you're adding a video as one of your 3 posts a week, that is going to become a reel. Actually, you're going to get a copy of the slides afterwards. So rather than me showing you the reels, you can either, if you're on a phone, you can scan this QR code. It will open up straight in the Instagram app and you'll be able to watch it. Or if you're on desktop, you can click the link and that will bring you through to viewing it there. So I know we have Woodstock Hotel in the house. Here's an example from them. Definitely follow them for some great and amusing reels. The important thing about a reel is to capture people's attention in the first 3 seconds. So make them short. Try and keep them under a minute, because people don't want to watch a reel for too long. The whole point of them is these short, snappy, fun videos. Use your stickers and effects and transitions, everything that it offers to you to keep your audience watching. When we talk about Instagram, everyone wants to talk about hashtags. So just briefly to talk about hashtags. They really aren't as important as they used to be. Adam Mosseri, I never know how to correctly say his name. He's the boss of Instagram. He's the Mark Zuckerberg of Instagram, said earlier this year to use 3 to 6 hashtags. Make sure they're really relevant. It's not going to increase the reach of your post that much. So just make sure when you're adding the hashtags that they are exactly relevant to the post you put up. You could use a brand hashtag, for example, but you may just might want to use one more, like Travel Ireland or Irish Trad or Walking in Ireland, whatever you feel is suitable to the individual post that you put up. And because hashtags aren't as important as they used to, we need to think more about writing our captions. So our captions are what is going to engage a user more, but also what's going to help us appear in search, in that keyword search. In your caption, remember that when a user scrolls by, they just see the first 3 lines of your text. So here we can see, did you know that Irish writer Bram Stoker got inspiration for his famous book? That's going to make me want to click the see more button because that sounds really interesting. So that 3 lines are really important. Emojis, again, add a little bit of color and help you catch attention. Use descriptive keywords. So for example, we've got Irish writer, we've got Bram Stoker. Those are the sort of things that will help them come up in search. And add a call to action. And a call to action isn't always a buy my thing or come and visit my website or direct message me. It can be something that provokes engagement. And that's what Epic have done here. Weird, right? Is a question, and it's phrased in a particular way that makes people want to answer. So just by twisting that and having some sort of engagement hook can be a really good way to get extra views and extra people looking at your account. For your stories, make sure you're using stickers. This is a really good way to get quick engagements and to understand that your audience is doing more than just clicking through your story. So there's lots of engagement stickers there. We've got polls, slider polls, quizzes, questions. Think about how you can add those to get more engagement on your posts. You can also add a link sticker now to drive people onto your website. And animated GIFs are great fun. So if you want someone to send you a direct message, because we know that's a commitment, you can search animated GIFs for DM and it offers you like literally hundreds of stickers that you can add to your post to encourage people to direct message you. Talked a lot about content and it's all there's a lot of intense stuff in there. So I recommend really setting aside a chunk of time in your diary each week, each month to plan out your content. So having some sort of spreadsheet, I've created one, the link to it is there in the slides. By creating some sort of spreadsheet like that, it just helps you know what you're doing in advance so that you're not working off the hoof. So you can see there, I've got all the things in your content type, your goal, your content goal, all the little pieces that you might need in there. And it's not just for Instagram, it's for everything that you might need. On to the final, but possibly most important part, and I'm going to attempt some screen sharing here as well, which is your analytics. So am I hitting the right one? I am. So the important thing for looking at your analytics is knowing what you want to know before you get there. Otherwise, you kind of look at random stuff. So thinking about things like, am I reaching my audience? Am I reaching my audience might be a question. Or is my audience growing? Or are these the right people that are following me? Or are people even engaging with my account? Are they going to view my profile? Are they clicking the link in my bio that I spent so much time putting together? What content works best for me? That's the sort of question you want to get answered. Now, I'm going to have to switch into my own business account because this only has like 3 posts. It's just a demo account to show you this. I need to show you something that's got something going on. So I am pressing the button to try and switch. That's not the one. It's not letting me switch. Finally. Okay. So if I go into the 3 lines at the top of the screen, the hamburger menu, you may remember I called it. Click on Insights. So now I'm in. The overview here, firstly, I can see the accounts that I've reached. I'm going to change the time frame because I don't use Instagram that much. So just so we get a better data.
Amanda, sorry to interrupt. Just to say, we're just still looking at Glen Bay View. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me stop sharing and start again.
Yeah, thanks.
I just go here. I'm just going to do that and then share back. Thanks for letting me know. I would have been busy here for ages. Let's see what's happening now. Are we good?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So the first thing I was going to do is switch to 90 days rather than the last 7 days, because I don't post enough on Instagram to have enough data to show you. So at the top here, the first thing that we've got is the accounts reached. If I click into that, this is where we can see, if I scroll down, followers versus non-followers. So definitely take a look at this. Is it the same? Your Instagram Reels should be reaching a lot of non-followers. So have a look at that. Have a look as well. Your stories really shouldn't be reaching non-followers, and your post should have a bit of both. Now, if you optimize your post, there's a really good chance that you're reaching more non-followers than I am, but it's definitely worth looking at. You can also see your standard things like your demographics and about those particular people. I'm hoping now, because I clicked something on my screen, that I haven't disappeared again, but we'll see. So next, let's go into reach. Oh, I've gone out of that. We already looked at reach. Let's go into top followers. So this tells us a bit about, and I need to change it back to 90 days again. It's a bit about our followers, so we can see, are our followers the right people? So if I was targeting Ireland, it looks like it by city, reaching people in Dublin, few people in London, but never mind. I'm from England, so I guess a few people follow me from there. But if I click into countries, actually, I'm not doing badly there either. Most of the people who follow me are from Ireland, so that's good. I can see my age range and I can see my gender breakdown. So even though there's more men on Instagram, more women follow me, which is interesting. This is the interesting bit at the bottom, is your time of day to post. Just remember what I said earlier, that you can't rely on this 100%, because everyone, I'm seeing 6 p.m. there, everyone's going to be posting at 6 p.m. on Mondays. Next up, I just want to go into content. Okay, I'm going to revert to my slides because it doesn't want to load. But that's fine, because I screen grabbed it all for you, so we should be good. It has actually loaded now that I've said that, but never mind. So your content, when you go into your content and see all, you can see your posts, and they're laid out in order of reach. So you can see the post that reached the most people, and no surprise here, all of the top posts are videos that were turned into reels. Below that, they're carousels. So they were reaching more people than my standard posts. But you can also break down this content. So at the top there, you can see it says all. If you click on that, you can see posts, and you can break that down by a specific metric. So for example, I can see, if I scroll all the way down, I can see how many people visited my profile. So there is profile or call to action taps or button taps. All of those can tell me. I'm just going to see if I can get it back on the screen, because I'd love to be able to show you this live, and I do have 1 minute at least that I can use. So please, let's see, does that work? It's thinking about it. It's there, right? So let me show you that live, because I get very excited about it. I think it's a really good. So now I can see which content's reaching the most people. If I go into all and just go for posts, which means the main feed, now I can filter it by clicking those 2 little lines at the top. I'm still in all. Right. And I can choose my metric, and I can look. So I've got all these different options. So the things I might be really interested in is, has anyone tapped into my website? So let's see. I don't know the answer. Let's see. 1 person. And they came from this specific post. So now I can look at that post. Did I include a call to action? What is it that may have made them tap into my website? And you can change that. You can look at profile visits. So which one got profile visits? You can look at how many people clicked your email button, for example. And that's the real valuable content that you want to look at, the stuff that's actually provoking a reaction way beyond a reach or a share. Now I'm staring at my screen because it's not showing me. Just bear with me a second. Okay. So with that in mind, that whistle-stop tour of Instagram, the key things that I would like you to take away from this is complete your profile fully. Look at those 9 different ways that you can optimize it and try each of them. Make sure if you want to maximize the number of people you reach, that you're doing feed posts, that you're doing reels, and you're doing stories. Plan your content around those 4 content goals that I talked about at the beginning to make sure you have a balanced schedule. And view and record your key statistics regularly so you can see the effects of, I've said your Facebook marketing instead of Instagram. I must be obsessed, but your Instagram marketing. Over to Marion.